Nothing in my teeth. We checking each other's teeth. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Troy Rawlings here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Meet the. Today is a really exciting episode. I don't know how exciting she's going to get in the interview itself, but she's an exciting person.
Well, thank you.
You are. And I say, meet the erotic aerialist. Am I saying that right?
Exotic aerialist.
Exotic. My mind's erotic. Exotic aerialist and dancer, choreographer, singer, fitness trainer. Going to show me how to stretch properly again in some different ways. Pole fitness, pole artist, Miss Candace Kane. Give it up for Candace Kane.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hello.
Candace Kane, thank you for taking a second out. And I'm still trying to do the math on her. You've been around for a minute. I have no idea. You look like you're an extra from a different world. Like you Cree Summer cousin.
Right, Cree Summer. Yeah. Oh, I love me some Cree Summer.
Yeah. You look amazing. And we had a chance to meet at a Juneteenth celebration. My girl April Sampay was in Los Angeles, and shout out to the folks at the V Tree, great vegan food restaurant.
I just had free for dinner.
I saw it. Please don't.
It was so good.
How's she going? Well, why should she tell somebody? That's the privilege of being in Hollywood, and it's hard to find people that are in Hollywood. So we met at the event, and we were literally breaking. It wasn't bread. We broke black-eyed peas and some vegan shrimp and some.
And cornbread.
And we did break some cornbread. We did break some bread. So shout out to the V Tree. I got to tag him in this somewhere. But we started talking, and you told me you were a dancer. I was like, what kind of dance? She was like, oh, I wrote down a list, and he was like, I do pole. And I was like, oh, really? He was like, yeah, I be working out some, but I used to do fitness, and and you started talking about the fitness model and stuff. And I was like, okay, all right. And, you exchange, and he was like, okay, well, and I didn't realize who I was talking to. I had already seen Candace's work. I saw you doing the Pride Parade where you did the kick and hit your head. I had already seen that stuff. And I was like, oh, I just thought it was a cool sister eating some vegan food. And we was vibing, the music was popping, and she kicking herself in the head from behind with her leg. So, and this is something that surprised me. I told you I interviewed Big Les, and being a hip hop head, and I used to do hip hop choreography back in the day, and talking to Big Les was everything. And I'm like, so where'd you train, Big Les? Because I remember in '94 I was about to move to New York to go to Duntori, and we were doing hip hop, but I wanted to learn modern and stuff because y'all was doing. Where'd you train? She was like, I was a club head. I didn't train, but she was a gymnast. So when I saw what you was doing, I was like, oh, Candace, so you have a gymnastics background? You're like, no, dance. I was like, wait.
Not at all.
Just dance.
I didn't take any gymnastics until I was an adult.
So were you always that flexible? Or because some of the stuff you're doing is like, when did you get into that side of strength? Because that's the art. That takes the stuff you do is crazy. You haven't seen it.
Yeah, crazy to say the least. And I wouldn't have it any other way, If it's not crazy, you're not going to talk about it, right? So I got into that side of dancing, like pole and more extreme flexibility and handstands, 2012. That was when I first was introduced to pole dancing, and then the fact that there was classes available. And from that moment on, I was like, oh, this is the lick. So I started training because I wanted to become better. And the only thing to me that made sense is I have to become more flexible and stronger so I could do these grandiose tricks and be really cool and, with my foot behind my head.
Vainglorious. No, sorry. No, it was so, okay. you're dancing. How long have you been dancing? Well,
I've been dancing
summer
since I
stuff.
came out the womb.
Okay.
Came out the womb, tap dancing. Nah,
So
actually, that's the one I have not ever tried to tap dance officially, and I would love to. Eventually, I'll take a class. So I'm not sure if I'm good at that, but for the most part, I could pick up on most other dances. But I've been dancing, like my first class, official class, was like when I was 8, and then I've been training ever since then.
but that's still a bit later. And I mean, when you said 2012, you started training, because I'm seeing you doing a handstand piece and the doing handstands and then doing stuff with your legs while in the handstands. And this is way beyond. I'm not talking about the twerking, folks. This is beyond twerking. This chick is
They
off the
didn't
chain.
even know I did twerking and a handstand until you brought it up. So you're telling on me,
Well,
man.
I mean,
Telling on me.
well, some of my folks, as soon as you say handstand, I'm like, let me see this girl. I don't see no twerking going on. Oh, here we go. but way beyond that, because that's serious. So the history of when pole dancing became like next level, like how long had it been competition? How long? More of a aerialist style, more than just, because the first time I was introduced to pole dancing, like any kid that came up in the late 70s, 80s, was flash dance, and it was a wrap. Jessica Biel was, I was just water on the chair. Oh.
Yeah, that's an iconic scene. Iconic scene.
Who took it to the next? Who took it to the place where pole dancing was more so seen as an art? Because you always would see it, and then when you go to the circus, you would see people doing stuff in the circus. We didn't think about it like that. When the lady climbed the pole and started spinning around, and we didn't think, "Oh, wow, wait, I've seen this somewhere before."
Well, there's the thing. There's several different types of pole dancing. You have Chinese pole, which is traditionally practiced in modern day in like the circus. So, those are the thicker, more like, I don't know if they're rubber coated or whatnot, so they can stick. And they do all the flips, and it's a little bit more buoyant. There's another word for that, but it will bend a little bit, so you can actually bounce off of it more so than like the poles that I would dance on. Although there are a few people who would flipping off of these poles too. I just don't engage in that type of behavior.
I was about to ask, have you ever have you ever just lost it and fell off a pole?
Have I fallen off a pole? Fallen? No. Slipped? Yes. Well, okay.
Were you in the air and then hit the ground?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was about maybe like 5. My ass was about maybe 5 or 6 feet off the ground, and the leg that was holding me slipped. The foot, excuse me, not the leg, slipped, and I did fall, but I fell like on my side and my ass, so it wasn't too bad. I've slipped off the pole while I was already low, thinking that I had more space below me, but I think that's about as far as like, control, like damage.
It wasn't like one of those videos online, the chick that was in the air and just bam, just kept dancing.
I have never had one of those moments, and I pray, knock on wood, that does not happen.
Yeah, never, because you are definitely doing some phenomenal stuff up there. So you got into dance. Are you originally from California?
No. I'm from Washington State, honey. Pacific Northwest, yes.
So you're West Coaster. What brought you to Los Angeles?
Family. Family decided to relocate out here, so I came out here with the family, and that was a while ago. It's interesting. For the most part, I've stayed within Los Angeles. I've been a couple other places in California, but LA is my home, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And there's so many things to get into, like pole dancing. I've danced as a go-go dancer in a lot of the clubs in Hollywood as well. So like LA is really a big part of my life and way of living, But
your dance style, I've seen you do stuff, and I mean, modern, jazz, ballet, you encompass everything.
Mm-hmm.
When did the transition, when did you realize that there was a big interest in teaching pole, like teaching pole in the classes and everything that was going on? When did you realize that that seemed to be a big thing for even like the moms at home? That's like, okay, all right. I have this broom. Oh Jesus, And
Oh no. Well, here's the thing. I've always been interested in teaching people how to dance specifically. When I was younger, I'd volunteer at my previous school, whether it be my elementary school as a middle schooler student or like as a high school student at my middle school or whatnot, like helping with the children who are younger with the dance programs and choreographing for them and helping them and whatnot. So I've been teaching for quite some time. And it's innate within me to want to help. And as I was in the classes, people were gravitating towards me because they saw I was understanding and getting the motions and the tricks and whatnot. So they'd ask me questions when they saw that the teacher was busy. And I realized, okay, well, all of you guys are thinking I know all the answers, even though I'm just regurgitating what I just got learned, from my teacher. I decided, you know what, maybe I should teach. So as far as the clientele and the people who take classes, I was in class, so I knew who was around, and I knew people who enjoyed being in my presence as I taught. So I made it fun, and it wasn't so very serious. And I make everyone feel very welcoming. And as you may or may not know, literally anyone with anybody can pole, no matter what you look like, what your age, race, sexuality, disabilities. Like anybody can get up there and do something on the pole.
y'all hear that? So
Yes,
she'll take you through it. Actually, you have some just a quick throw in, because I know we're gonna do a shorter version on IGTV. So those on IGTV, you actually a quick insert, and we'll talk about later. You have some classes coming up, and this is just to date it real quick. This is June 2020. So we talking about pandemic, uprising, crazy time. Some of y'all don't want to leave the house anyway. And you got something coming up in July. You have some classes coming up for folks in July, right?
Yes, I do. I have some pole classes coming up. So for those of you who do have a pole at home, you're more than welcome to check out my schedule. It's posted on my Instagram, which is at Sweet Miss Candace. They'll tag that in there somewhere, right? I believe you will. Wow. So you can find all the classes there. I have beginner, intermediate, advanced classes. But aside from that, I also teach stretch classes and exotic chair dance classes. So if you don't have a pole and you're just either looking to gain flexibility or, dance on your chair in a sexy, fun way, you can do that with me as well. And all the information's on my page too.
So, all right, let's go back. I'm gonna go back a little bit. So you're doing stuff in the community. You're dancing. You're doing the projects. What was your first, what you would consider your first big dance performance that you were kind of blown away?
I already know what's coming up. For me, the first thing that came to my mind was Pour It Up for Rihanna. That was like, as far as pole dancing goes, that was the first big gig for me. And I was so stoked because she handpicked.
Well, dancing, any kind of dancing. That's
okay.
But any kind of dancing, like your first dance experience where it was like, because like I said, I don't want people just to think she's this amazing aerialist and acrobatic and da 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 da. From what she just said, she took it to the next level. And I'm tripping that if you started in 2012, that was just 8 years ago, and the people in the class were like, hey, can you show me? That's jacked up with the teachers over there changing the radio, and people like, take my number down. When is your class? Like, no, I don't. I guess I teach.
I mean, I started teaching at the studio that I was training out of, and I was there for a while. And then I went to different studios and did my own thing on the side because, well, why not? And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm just going to brand myself and let people know like I am my individual own company for teaching. And, I provide poles for music video sets or movies or whatnot. I sell them as well. So if you're interested and in the market to buy a pole for your house, you can contact me and I can help set that up for you as well.
Fellas, that might be the perfect birthday. I ain't trying to get anybody hit upside the head. That might be the perfect birthday gift. You're like, so why'd you get this big? I don't know, baby. I just, I was working out and I figured you might want to work out some days and get up there. I wanted to be a firefighter for years. I know you ain't know that. But so, all right, let's go back. Regular, modern, jazz, ballet, whatever it was. When was your first time someone said, "We need you," and it was huge, and you were like, "Oh my God, it's a next level thing." Because people call on you for a lot of different things, music videos. I mean, even before you were polling.
I'd say, oh goodness. Okay, so this isn't a performance per se, but for me, it was a really big deal. Back when I was singing and trying to pursue singing as a career, I had put out my very first music video and was really excited about it, as one should be about their very first music video. And I was able to get placement on the CD that plays at different like Foot Actions or Foot Lockers. And you know how when you go to the shoe stores, they have music videos, or at least at that time, they had music videos constantly playing in the stores.
Right.
My video was on that, DVD. And so my music video was playing at a whole bunch of different shoe stores across the country for a little bit. And it was like I had a slot right between like I think Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne or something. So I was super excited. Like people are seeing my music and my craft like all over the fucking, nation, So that was pretty cool.
No, that's huge. That's huge. Most people don't realize how powerful it is when you have something that's running at a place. If it's a venue, if it's a store, it's something like that, how it is to get. I remember DJs that just wanted their mixes in like the downtown locker room shoe store in Baltimore and stuff like that. If you had your mix playing in there, it was hot. You could run your name. Oh yeah, I heard Kenny K's mix and whoever, so that is a big deal. And I think about those things because you have a quote, and I don't want to misquote it, but you talk about the small victories or small.
Celebrate the subtle victories.
Celebrate the subtle victories. And when I saw that, I was like, because we're in a time right now where people, I think we're fearful of. It's a weird time. You kind of some people are holding on to old things. Some people are fearful about today, and they're trying to look forward past where we are versus taking advantage of every moment and celebrating
now, just accepting it for what it is, and that we're able to just be here in this space and time, regardless of how fucked up it is, we're still here.
Exactly. So that's the thing where I see every time when I met you, you were real cool and stuff like that. Every time I see you, and I know you got bad days like everybody else, but it's good for people to hear that, because as they look at your stuff and as they follow you, and I know a whole bunch of single women, housewives, house men, it's gonna be some fitness. And she sells the pole. She even makes the handstand blocks. I'm thinking about that. But the crib I'm at right now is not too good. I'll kick a fan and I'll be in the hospital talking about some.
We don't want you to hurt yourself.
No. I'm 6'2". My feet hit the fan. I'm out the window. So, moving forward. So when you do your classes, what exactly, or just a taste of like what a beginning class is? I told you I'm interested in learning some different stretches and things that I can do, and I have my stuff, but it's always good to find something that's a little crazy, and hopefully it won't,
Well, it depends which class, because I do teach a plethora of classes. I do teach the pole dancing, flexibility, exotic dancing and floor work, handstands, twerking. So, you gotta, like, which specifically are you interested for me to speak on now? I know you want to personally take like stretching and whatnot, but like what?
Well,
huh?
I'm
a woman with many talents.
Yes. In your latest flow, I want to say over the past 2020. So over the past, let's say 2 years, what have you been doing the most of? What have you seen people coming to you the most for?
Mostly for flexibility. I think so, because in this time, not a lot of people have access to poles. You know, if you don't have a pole at home, if you only had a studio to go to, you're not able to do that anymore. So most people are just, you know, contacting me for flexibility, which is great because I love helping people become more flexible. You know, a flexible body promotes a flexible mind. And, you know, when I teach, I'm not just teaching you the tricks and the movements. I'm teaching you how to learn and how to accept and how to celebrate the subtle victories. Even though you may not have a really big progression to start, you got to understand that you're even doing it in the first place. And that's what's most important, because each time you're firing off the muscles that are necessary for whatever trick or whatever stretch that you need in the future. So
Right.
yeah.
And that's a big deal. A friend of mine years ago told me, he's a Sifu, Kung Fu instructor. And he was in his 50s then, so I know he's in his 70s now. Probably still look the same, but he was like, Troy, you get stiff, you die. He was like very flexible. He could get down. And my brother's a grandmaster in martial arts, so when we worked out, he would walk by us when we were doing splits, and he'd just be like, okay, breathe. And, he was just
I've been stretching obviously as a dancer since I was a kid, but I hadn't taken it seriously until like I said, when I started like pole dancing and wanting to become better for that. Like, yeah, I can do the splits, but I wasn't like completely squared off or as far as my hips were concerned, you know. And now I'm at a point where like most any time I can just drop in a split and not pull a muscle, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you mentioned the Rihanna video, and I saw a couple choreographed pieces you did to music and working with it. How was that working on the Rihanna set and doing your thing?
Oh man, Rihanna's set was really interesting and fun. Lots of fun. The reason why I led with interesting because pole dancing on a stage that is water filled is very difficult because
Wait, what?
the slip. Okay, yeah. So get this.
Wait, huh?
The stage, like the floor in which the stage where the poles were on was water with like fog over it. So we had to walk across the stage to get to the poles, kind of put one leg on the pole, dry off our shoe, put the other leg up on the pole, dry off our shoe, and then continue to do the tricks and try not to slip down the pole. Yeah. So that was like the interesting part about it. And I remember slipping one time and like having like the water splashed in my hair. And for some reason they wanted my hair straight. So they had to re-straighten it because this is my natural curls. And as soon as water hits it, it's like poof. But it was fun because we were working with Rihanna and I was able to show her some type of pole tricks that she can do for her solo shots. And it was amazing because they used some of the tricks that I showed her in the final cut. And I was like, I taught her that. Yeah.
So in the flow of being for someone out there is and you're acting, you're singing, you're old school entertainment. Even burlesque is your modern day Dorothy Dandridge. You're doing it all. And
oh wow, that's a compliment. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
If we got to share Black stories, we better share them right. That's what it is. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're doing what we have to do, and we've always had to do. We've always had to be multifaceted. And I say we as a people, as Black folks, but also anybody in entertainment. When you think about people like Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby and you know, so you think about these people who were doing their thing for years, and dance and sing. It was a normal thing. What's so funny is one of my favorite directors of all time is Spike Lee, and Spike Lee loves musicals, MGM musicals. So in the midst of a movie, that's why sometimes in the midst of his movie, cut to musical thing. He has Terrence Blanchard playing and maybe a breakaway scene. It's like the piece in She's Gotta Have It. And break away and they start dancing and they're the only color part of the movie, you know. And so it's in us, and you do have that flair of an old school entertainer that you can just flip the script. I mean, even the pictures we have in the promo for you, it's like 1 minute you're there with the fro and you can jump and do dance and whatever. The next minute you look like you're at some place in Spain about to do a blink, ding, 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 ding,
Flamenco dance.
link, you know. So do you like? It seems like you're a chameleon when it comes to entertainment.
Yes.
What's something that you really desire to do? Like, if you could, your ultimate project, what would it be?
Ooh, that's so hard. I can't pick one. Let me tell you, I'm a Libra and I'm a very true Libra, so my indecisiveness is so very real. Um, I mean, I want to do it all. Why do I have to pick one? That's not fair.
You don't. You could be. It could be.
I refuse. I'd say like I do want to get into acting more, modeling for sure. I've always loved to model. My first big modeling gig, I was like 9 or 10. It was for Kids Gap. So I've been modeling for some time, but I'm short. People have this misconception that I'm really tall. They've only seen me online, and I have these long lines and long legs and long limbs, and so people think I'm like, I don't know, 5'8", 5'10", and they see me in person, and they're looking down like, dang.
You know what's so funny?
And
And I met you in person, and I didn't realize it until we were about to leave, and everybody's like, "Hey, what's that?" And he's like, "All right, I'll see you later." I was like, "Oh, hey."
I told you it happened.
She's like,
I have a
"I
very tall
down here." I was like, "What's going on?" Hey, little woman. It's like
tall personality.
tall personality, and the camera loves you because you definitely. I didn't even think about it. I just thought you was still dancing or something. Like, oh, hey.
I speaking of dancing, it just reminded me. I had done. Are you familiar with the movie Dolomite Is My Name?
Yes, I am.
I had performed a little dance bit and acted in that movie towards the end, and it was really amazing to be on set with all these great people. But I was dancing, and the scene that I was performing was actually something that had been in one of the Dolomite movies prior, and so I was kind of like reenacting that scene or whatnot. And it reminded me of just like being like one of the showgirls, like you said, like Dorothy Dandridge, of, just shaking my tail feather in a cotton club somewhere, doing my damn thing. And I'm like, oh, this is my life. And it's not too bad. Like I'm so fortunate, so very, very fortunate to be able to do all of these different things. Not a lot of people are afforded the opportunities that I am. I try to put myself in a position where I can just work hard, meet the right people. I'm really genuine and organic. I try to just be me at all times, and so far that seems to have gotten me places. I'm I'm just very fortunate. I love it. I can get out there and like do movies that are on Netflix, and then I can go do concerts, and then I can work with like people who come train with me who like live in other countries, and it's just like I love it.
And you mentioned something, we talked about it before when we met. You talked about it, but I see it. How big is it to not only have great relationships, but how big is it to have a network in Los Angeles for the young woman, for the young man that's looking to come here to be an artist? How big is it for you to have a network? Because not only are you doing your thing, you actually live in Hollywood. And a lot of people, oh my goodness, you live in Hollywood. How's it? I was, you were doing something online the other day, and he was like, "Where do you live?" You like Hollywood. He was like, "Where?" He was like,
All right. I was like, "Do you want
Hollywood.
my address? Come on now."
Right. He was like, because a lot of people say they live in Hollywood or in Los Angeles and they live in Palmdale or something like that. But I know he was like, "No, I'm in Hollywood." Like
Hollywood. Like Hollywood. I could, walk around Hollywood Boulevard if I wanted to,
Right. Don't do that, kids.
But, being here, I'd say like having the right people who are very supportive of you, who want to not only see you grow, but allow you to help them grow, is important. Having something that you can exchange with somebody instead of things just being one-sided. I feel like every relationship that you have, if it's not progressing in some way, if you're not helping each other out, or, there's some type of benefit, then what is there to have, whether it be, emotional exchange or a physical thing of helping with, getting a job or whatnot, or placement. Like there's so many different ways. Or even just support, like someone who posts your shit, like, hey, I may not be able to afford to buy a class, but I can sure share it with somebody who does want to take your class, like little things like that.
Right.
But as far as the circle is concerned, being authentic is really important because LA is full of flakes and fakes. And there are a lot of people who are just trying to step on the necks for their own benefit. So you have to be smart. Don't be gullible and know your worth. Like, I'm not saying like go out there like I'm worth this and yeah, I won't step on set unless I get this much. I'm not saying like that, but just, you know, when people speak to you, don't let nobody downplay you. But also speak to people respectfully as well when you do need to check them. So there's that.
Like Steve Martin said, and be so good that they can't deny you, they can't refuse you, because that's another thing you bring to it. A very humble spirit, very cool, very this, that, another. And you hear people all the time. I meet people all the time, and you were like, well, I do this, and this, and you were very, very concise on how you break down. I enjoyed this, and I was like, okay, well, let's add. And I looked, and I was like, oh, you do that. That's a kick the head, girl.
Yeah.
Kick yourself in the back of the head. Now, let's talk about because we could talk for a while. There was something in particular I wanted to ask you. How has this been? Quarantine. And you got to get a mug. Well, what didn't you have some buttons or something?
It's
with
not
that?
a mug, it's a sticker. I have them on my Etsy page. So if you want a sticker of a beautiful pole dancing scenic ocean, you know, view, get a sticker from my Etsy page.
I'm gonna put a bunch of these pictures up on the different lives when I put them on IG, so you see them all over the place. And you're also in a competition right now. You're crushing it. The Maxim Cover Girl competition.
Yeah, that I am in the competition to be the next Maxim Cover Girl,
and giving money to the Wounded Warrior.
Yes, and yes, of course, you got to give back. I mean, if you're going to go for it, like, understand that you can't get anywhere unless you give something, right? You know, you got to give a little to get somewhere. So really very, very excited to be in this competition. And I would appreciate if all y'all, if you have Facebook, please vote for me on the daily, because this competition is going until like August. And right now I'm in the first of my group, but there's about 100 different groups. So then it's going to be a whole big challenge. And I know I'm going against girls that probably got like millions of followers and such. So I could use your help. That's all I'm going to say. And I'd appreciate it.
Yes. We'll push that forward. And Pole Candy. Tell me a little bit about Pole Candy. You have a fashion show. Is it an ongoing fashion show you did? Is this something new?
So Pole Candy, a fashion show, is my creation, my baby. I had this idea that there should be a fashion show to showcase the type of pole wear that you can wear in the studio or for performance or leisure, you know, because there's a certain style that I feel pole dancers have, or people, aerialists as a whole, and, you know, fitness folks. And I wanted to like fill that niche in a way that people can see the plethora of things available to them, because a lot of people aren't aware of all the different brands that are out there. People will constantly DM me like, hey, I like that outfit that you're wearing, like who created it? So I got enough of those messages to realize there needs to be somewhere, a place that people can see everything consolidated, like right. What is out there, and make it fun and make it cute. And so Pole Candy, a fashion show, was born, and I had my first show last year. It was awesome. It was around my birthday, and I was very fortunate. It was a great turnout. I got to give away some prizes. My models were fantastic. The pole companies like Pole Active had provided a lot of the clothing, and she was just like amazing. Bay of Fashion, like all sorts of great companies that you should be aware of if you're looking for cute fitness wear. So yeah, that's my little pole baby. This year I had some plans in the works, but you know, with this whole COVID situation, I don't know quite what we're gonna do. I'm certain there will be something, whether it be online or not, there will be something. So Pole Candy will have something this year that you can watch and enjoy and still learn about all the different fashion that there is out there.
Now, have your online classes jumped tremendously during this time, as far as people who are taking your classes? I saw one sister. She sounded like I would sound. She's like, "Girl, Candy came and stretched me out. You hear me?"
Yeah, that was so great. She was so sweet. I've been teaching online since for a while now, even before 2020. So
Right.
the transition to just teaching online wasn't very difficult for me, but I did have an influx in the amount of students who are reaching out now, because this is like pretty much the only way they're going to get a lesson. So I'm fortunate because I don't have to leave my house and I'm able to just teach from the comfort of my home. You know, I don't have to travel to get to the studio or sit in traffic.
Right.
I just, you know, have my tea ready, get my mat out, you know, make sure my lights are good so they can see me, and then I teach. It's fantastic.
I want to we got to do something together, because I'm talking to, and I'll share this with him now. The BK Girls Night Out, and some people are like, "Was that Black Girls Night Out?" Or it's Brooklyn Girls Night Out. And I talked to the sister that runs that about doing, I do my sex, love, and relationship comedy tour and all that stuff. But I know people are struggling right now. A lot of people who are married and they with their spouse and they were just passing, two ships in the ocean, passing during regular days, going to work back and forth. And now,
right. Now that they're actually at home,
4 months,
feel, sitting face to face and actually be in the, I know.
She can't get to her other friend, and he can't get to his the girl, and he can't go out, she can't go out. They gotta have something to add some spice back into their relationship. So if y'all are going through, don't be honest. Hey, I'm talking to you. Be honest. If y'all are going through some shit and you don't know how to deal with it, you want to Candace classes, girl. You don't got to have a poll. Get a chick.
You can
spice
get
things
more
up.
Flexible, because flexibility can translate to flexibility in the bedroom. And who doesn't love, being able to throw that leg back without hurting the next day, right? Save yourself the hamstring tears, girl. Let me help you stretch it out. But besides that,
wait. First, do the stretch class first, because I can hear that. Y'all trying not to wake the kids. What's wrong? Cramp. Ain't nothing like getting the cramp in the middle of the night when you're not doing nothing. When you're just laying there asleep and your legs. Stretch. Get the stretching first, all right, and then you got to give them sessions. Don't just have have Aunt B doing the chair, and she get down there and be like, hold up now,
Everyone will be just fine. I'm very thorough in my explanation, so you will be in wonderful hands when you take class with me.
And guys, you might want to. Your woman might be into the stripper thing. The strip. You may not be able to move like some of the thick guys. Some of the guys move like they're trying to be a female. I don't know, whatever. But you might want to learn some things with your hips. And there's a Caucasian brother out there that hadn't moved your hips ever. You've never moved your hips before, ever. You don't even know. You don't even realize that men can move their hips. You've never moved your hips. I'm talking to you. She might be able to show you. You've never moved your hips, and you might be losing your wife. No, sorry. So to get the class is what I'm saying. So, and I was gonna put her on the spot. I told her, I said, look, I know, just in case you wanted to go on the poll, I was gonna put her on the spot, but I don't want her. No, I'm not gonna put you on the spot right
now. Lord, as he sips his tea, he's like, "But are you going to do something though?" Like,
No. But one of the.
You want to see me on the poll here? There. That's me on the poll.
Bam.
There.
But there. Go to her. Follow her at Sweet Miss Candace Kane. There's a piece where she's just doing it looked like just a simple. It like you was just dancing or stretching or doing a little routine on your floor, but stretching your leg out and your hand out and then the leg in the air, and then the girl got skills.
Thank you very much.
So don't forget, y'all, Candace, what do you want to tell people right now? There's a lot going on. From quarantine, the fears, everything that was happening, to uprising, people are losing themselves. Some people have passions for things. That's why I gravitated to doing this interview, not just because of what you do, but the way you carry yourself. And see, we have a blessing to come, and some people may not notice. We are creatives and talented people that come to a place where there are other creatives and talented people. So even when you're in the grind, it's not so bad because you can look over or pick up the phone and you can call somebody else who's going through the same thing and encourage you along. So it's good to be around like-minded people, but there's somebody with a passion who their mate may not agree with them. There's somebody with a passion who their parents don't agree with it. And now they've been locked in a house in this crazy time with people who may not believe in their skills or their talents for 4 months. What could you say to them to help them break a mold and not be fearful? I'm putting you on the spot big time.
All right. Well, what I would say to those folks is this is temporary. Years from now, even months from now, we'll look back and it will just be a blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? It sucks in the moment, and I'm not going to negate your feelings at all. Trust and believe we all are all fighting our own demons and issues and situations, but we can't let these moments for these few months dictate and really put a precedence on the rest of our life in the future. You know, unfortunately, there are a lot of folks who are out here very depressed to the point of, you know, taking their own life. And it's like very sad. And I mean, that's even happened in our pole community. So it's just know that you are bigger than the situation. And as scary as it may be, you are here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. And why stop loving yourself and loving what you do? Even if you can't do it in the public, you know, if you can't dance for the public, dance in private. If you can't, you know, web design for the public, web design for fun, just keep your skills sharp or whatever it is that you do, you know. I'm sure that there's a way you can find a moment of solace in that thing. And if you don't have people that are around that don't support you or whatnot, if you're able to change your surroundings, do so, because if you're just soaking in this negativity from whoever's around you, that's just a succubus situation, it will drain you out, and it's going to be hard to pull yourself out of that. But so I'd say, like, if you can move away. If you can't, then just know that this is temporary. You've got this. Your dreams and goals and aspirations are going to crush anything that comes, you know, negativity that comes your way if you let.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Candace Kane. How can people get in touch with you, Candace?
Well, you can follow me on the gram. That's the Instagram at Sweet SWEET Miss MS Candace 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 Kane. That's my song. So you can also Yes, I do have a Twitter. I don't really use it like that, but I got one if you want to tweet me. I do have a Facebook page, Candace Kane. You can find me / Candace Kane. YouTube, if you want to follow my YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm really not good at this part, but if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can find it on YouTube / Sweet Miss Candace, and all of my cool dance videos and cooking, because I do some vegan cooking stuff too, and performance videos. All sorts of little knickknacks are on there, so you can follow that or subscribe to my YouTube. And by all means, check out my Etsy page if you want to buy t-shirts and stickers and handstand canes to work out for whatever reason, you know. I also have sparklers on there if you're a performer and want to put some sparklers on your shoes while you perform. That's a lot of fun too. So that's Etsy / Sweet Miss Candace. Yeah, that's me.
I like the t-shirt you have. I only poll on days that end with a Y.
Yeah. Every day. Yesterday. Monday. Friday.
Thank you, Candace, for taking a minute with me and chopping it up, encouraging some folks, and giving people a new way of y'all don't have an excuse now. Y'all can hit her up. She's doing classes. She does private sessions. Add something to the repertoire, ladies and men. I'm sure she'll help you with some flexibility, guys. You don't go in there and let your girl be able to do something. And you yelling because she think it's good yelling, and you yelling because you done pulled something for real.
Lord. All right. Yes. All of that.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Troy. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.